If you are stuck between staying and leaving, I get it. 3 years ago, my wife broke up with me, and I spent months in grief, guilt, and shame, and total indecision. I couldn't sleep, I couldn't think straight, and kept hunting for answers everywhere except where they actually were, in me. The method I eventually built, 3 to 1, saved my sanity and now helps my clients decide cleanly without later regret. If you have ever asked yourself this question, am I broken because I can't decide? That was me, word for word. 3 years ago, my wife ended things. Overnight, I went from, well, figure it out, to scrolling threads at 2 a.m., DMing strangers for advice, and bargaining with reality. I ping pong daily, stay and fight, leave and heal. I tried to outthink the pain, but the more I thought, the less I slept, and the less I slept, the harder it was to think. Grief, guilt, and shame ran my nervous system. I wasn't lazy or weak, I was flooded. When the attachment system is burning, your brain flips to survival. The amygdala screams, the prefrontal cortex, the part that weighs long-term consequences, goes dim. So you loop. Seek certainty, can't find it, seek harder, get less sleep, get more reactive. You're not broken, you're flooded. That's why the first pillar of 3 to 1 isn't decide faster, it's sleep in 3 days. You stabilize the body so your conscious mind can finally sort signal from noise, and you can feel the difference between mental overdrive and your inner authority that already knows the decision. If you find yourself in a similar place, you can try these things today. 2 minutes breath reset. 4-second inhale, 7-second hold, 8-second exhale, and repeat 6 rounds. No midnight negotiations. You can move all the heavy talks to daylight. And you can also grab a notebook or a piece of paper and divide it into thirds. What I know, what I don't know, and what I'll check tomorrow. Journal, divide, close it, sleep. You're not deciding under sirens anymore. You're cutting the sirens so you can decide from inner authority, not panic. When sleep steadies, a different question shows up. The one that kept me up for months. How do I know I won't regret my decision later? Or stated differently, what if I choose wrong and ruin everything? That fear had me frozen. I remember opening a blank note, thinking, don't make a mistake, and then filling it with other people's opinions. Therapists, friends, YouTube experts. Every day, the right answer changed with my mood. One day, I would list 10 reasons to stay. The next day, 10 to leave. It wasn't clarity, it was weather. Regret thrives when decisions are made from a momentary spike. Anger, panic, loneliness, love bombing, rather than stable criteria over time. In 3 to 1, the second pillar is 2 weeks to decide using your own decision criteria map that doesn't sway with emotions of the hour. Safety for you and for your kids, resources, money, housing, legal, reality, values, what matters to you in the next 12 months, evidence, patterns over promises, and future tests, 7-day, 28-day, 6-month snapshots of each path. You check the same map at set intervals, so the decision isn't a coin flip, it's a pattern. You build your map on day 1, imperfect is fine, and you check it on day 7 and day 14. No extra journaling marathons, just weigh the same criteria against fresh reality. If a spike happens, which it might, label it spike talking, pause and revisit the map in the morning. Clarity is repetition applied to evidence, not a lightning bolt. But what if your own inner signals are scrambled and you can't tell fear from truth? How do I trust myself when grief, guilt, and shame drown out my inner voice? I couldn't access my inner yes or no. All I heard was noise. You failed, you're to blame, you'll lose everything. This was the turning point. I stopped outsourcing truth and went inward with hypnosis. Not as magic, but as a state change that let me meet the grief and guilt without being run by them. Then human design gave me language for my inner authority, how my system authentically reaches decisions. I realized I've been trying to decide the way other people decided. No wonder I was stuck. I used hypnosis again, not to force an answer, but to practice living my authority so it stopped being theory and started being my daily experience. When you clear the emotional fog, grief, guilt, shame, and align with your native decision mechanism, your authority, you stop force fitting borrowed logic. In 3 to 1, this sits inside both pillars. In the 3-day sleep phase, hypnosis regulates your nervous system so signals aren't drowned. In the 14-day decide phase, you run your map through your authentic authority rather than around it, so the same facts land differently. Either clean yes, clean no, or not yet. How does this happen? You use a 15 to 20 minute guided downshift nightly every single day to not only meet grief, guilt, and shame directly, but also dial in on your inner authority and practice it day in, day out. Maybe you didn't know about this, so let me tell you. Mental rehearsal, aka hypnosis or visualization, is equally effective, if not even better, than practicing in real life. You get your own decision map to identify your inner authority pattern, the way clarity arrives for you. And you rehearse micro decisions in real life daily using your unique style. So when the big call comes, your system recognizes itself. Truth feels quieter, not louder, and you'll know the difference. Even with your inner truth finally online, there is another trap that you need to be aware of. It's the question a couple of my clients asked before we started working together. What if my partner's reactions, pressure, or manipulation keep pulling me back in? I wasn't being dragged into midnight debates with my wife. I was debating with myself at 2:17 a.m., replaying arguments and bargaining in my head. Many of my clients, though, were pulled into real midnight debates, pressure, or manipulation. They would promise no big talks and still end up negotiating at 1 a.m. The shift came when we practiced communication skills and moved heavy conversations to daylight. Not because situations got easier, but because we became boundary literate under stress. You can't make a clean decision while you are trapped in reactive loops. 3 to 1 gives you boundary templates and a time boundary that protects your clarity. No contact or low contact windows when needed. Daylight only rule for heavy talks. Communication principles you use when the conversation slides off the rails, right? This isn't about labels, it's about conditions. Structure beats persuasion. Clarity requires oxygen, and boundaries are how you breathe. Okay, let's say you sleep, you map, you anchor boundaries, and you choose. The last fear is the one that haunted me. How do I stick to my decision without collapsing next week or tomorrow? I worried I'd cave, either run back to old patterns or blow up the bridge in a moment of panic. Early on, I'd make a strong decision in the morning and be wobbly by evening. What changed was treating the first 28 days after the decision like a physical rehab, simple repetitions that rebuilt strength. I chose to stay in my marriage, rebuild and restart it, and it was the best decision I could have made. Some of my clients made the same call and rebuilt with stronger boundaries. Others made the decision to leave and let go of the dysfunction, and it was the best decision for them. Whether staying or leaving, I had a checklist, scripts, and relapse plans for the hard nights. Those 4 weeks made the decision real. The third pillar of 3 to 1 is 28 days to live it. 4 weeks of follow through so the decision sticks. And with the first 2 pillars, that's 45 days total. If you are leaving, low or no contact plan, logistics on paper, safe housing plan, Support calls booked, lonely night protocol. If you are staying, regular conversation, communication skills to prevent or deal with conflict, re-entry from survival mode to connection without losing your new boundaries. Change holds when it becomes scheduled behavior, not heroic willpower, right? Here is what you can do. Write the first 7 days of your plan like a packing list. Schedule 2 supports, friend, coach, group. Create a 2 a.m. card, 3 steps you will take if panic hits, which it might. Commitment loves preparation. You don't have to be perfect, you have to be prepared. This is why I built Decision Accelerator 3 to 1. You need something that works in crisis, not in ideal conditions. Hypnosis gives you access to your own system. Human design shows you your way of knowing. And structure turns this into a path you can walk. Sleep in 3 days, decide in 2 weeks, live it in 1 month. This is what moves you from torture to clarity, whether you stay and rebuild with boundaries or leave with dignity. The win isn't one outcome, it's a clean decision you can live with. And now, here is your invitation. Join me for a free workshop called Make a Clean Separation Decision Fast without sleepless nights, second guessing, or regret. I'll walk you through the exact 3 to 1 map, the 3-day sleep protocol, the 14-day decision criteria template, and the first month after you make the decision. Tap the link in the description to save your seat. And if you are on the brink or freshly broken, be there. 2 weeks from now, you could be on the other side of this. Thank you very much for watching.